The cat ran quickly toward the exit, but the metal garage door was rapidly closing. The animal noticed too late that the mechanism silently came into action. He seemed to be inside for a few seconds and didn't get a good look at anything. Now it was scurrying outward, his stomach twisted with hunger. The cat remembered that people bring pain. But the paradox was that only humans could give good food, so the animal preferred to be close to houses. When the cat noticed the open doors of a garage in one of the big, beautiful buildings, he immediately went inside. The cat's logic was simple. The bigger the home, the more food there must be. The cat was very clever. Otherwise, he simply could not survive in a world where boys set fire to your fur, throw stones, or throw you off a cliff to see if you land on your feet. The cat was smart, so he knew right away that he wasn't going to get anything in here. The room smelled of gasoline and rubber and metal. People don't keep food next to their growling boxes on wheels. The cat knew that, but immense hunger drove the animal deeper into the bowels of the garage. The cat's faintest hope that somewhere among the shelves and racks of tools lay a forgotten sandwich. An inspection revealed that the garage owner was terribly boring. All the things were in their places. There was no dust or cobwebs anywhere. The cat didn't like such pedantic, neat people, because they didn't forget their food anywhere. The animal was about to go out when he saw a bright flag. It rippled in the draft and absolutely fascinated the animal. The cat tried to reach for it with his paw. Suddenly, with his sideways vision, he noticed some movement. Behind him, the garage door was self-closing. Fluffy rushed with all his paws to the exit. He didn't want to be closed for an indefinite period of time. He'd had the misfortune of spending a week in a small house outside the city. The owner was away on business and hadn't noticed the animal sneaking in through a window. Then the cat was incredibly lucky that the man had a faulty faucet, so the water was constantly dripping into the sink. The animal was really smart, so he threw a plastic plate into the sink. It filled with water and prevented the animal from dying of thirst. As for food, this landlord was terribly untidy. There were many surfaces had sausage leftovers lying around, and there was a supply of tortillas in an uncovered drawer. The cat ate every last crumb before the man returned. He must have been very surprised by the white lightning that flew out of the door. The beast has avoided closed rooms ever since. Noticing the crawling doors, the cat rushed for the exit, but by the halfway point, he realized that he was running out of time. The animal made a desperate dash and jumped through the narrow gap into the street. The cat didn't have time to feel happy when an unbearable pain pierced his tail. The animal had not calculated the jump, so Tail did not have time to break free after the owner and was left lying orphaned in the garage, causing bewilderment to the homeowner. The cat rushed headlong into the nearest bushes. His strength gave out, and the animal lost consciousness in pain. The white cat twitched in its sleep and jumped up sharply. His heart wanted to jump out of his chest. His breathing was labored, and his eyes ran around looking for danger. After a few seconds, the cat realized it was just a dream, his most haunting nightmare that had haunted him for years. The animal involuntarily glanced down at its back, where a short stump of its tail was sticking out. The cat, as if to apologize to his tail, ran its tongue over the short fur. He did not know how long he had been unconscious. He woke up when dense twilight spread around him. His tail hurt badly, but the bleeding had stopped. The cat began gently licking the injured part of his body, a disgusting metallic taste spreading in his mouth. The cat loved raw meat with blood, but not when it was part of him. Normal nutrition had to be forgotten for a few days. All the beast managed was a trip to the small artificial pond in the next yard. There the cat quenched its thirst, after which it would go back to resting in the bushes. The animal was feverish for several days, but gradually he was back on his feet. He did not even want to think about it now. Only such realistic nightmares kept him from forgetting. The cat stretched himself and went to the nearest grocery store. It was time to eat, and he had developed a great system for getting the food. Consuelo went to the nearest supermarket to buy groceries for dinner. She worked as a junior high school teacher and spent most of her time with her students. She didn't have time for fancy cooking, so she often ate convenience foods from the store. She was just wondering whether to buy shrimp or frozen fish. Before entering the supermarket, the woman involuntarily stopped. A cute white cat was sitting on the curb, looking at her with its big, pleading eyes. The woman immediately remembered the cat from Shrek. There was something about that white animal that made the cuteness of the picture go off the scale. She expectantly smiled and reached out to pet the cat. The cat turned with a startled look at her, but then purred loudly as if apologetically. Now Consuela saw that it had no tail. A miserable stump stuck out from behind, resembling a rabbit's tail. The cat shook its head impatiently. It didn't like the scrutiny, but soon its face expression became sweet again. The beast ran forward, glancing steadily back at the woman. It called her to follow him. This intrigued Consuela, and she hurriedly pulled out her phone to film the animal's unusual behavior. The white cat confidently entered the supermarket and made his way to the food section. There he stood on his hind legs and reached for the shelf with pro-cat treats. Consuela handed the beast one of the bags, and he tapped it approvingly with his paw. Consuela had no choice but to buy food for such a cute beggar. After that, they went outside, and the cat happily took his food. Consuela returned for her shopping. She filled the cart and involuntarily remembered the white animal. Only at the checkout counter did the woman discover that her purchases miraculously included several bags of the very food that the cat had chosen. Consuela had no pets, but she thought it was a sign from above. When the woman came out of the supermarket, the cat was washing its paw at the front door. The animal stared at the human with interest. Large bags promised appetizing treats, but Consuela did not feed the beggar anymore. She carried the purchases to the car and then returned for the animal. The cat was frankly against any contact with humans unless it promised food, so it tried to scurry away quickly, but the woman was more nimble. She put the kitty on the passenger seat and drove it home. On the way, looking at the curly tail, she thought of a nickname, Rabbit. At first, the animal was frightened, but then curiosity overcame. The cat leaned on the glove compartment with its front paws and watched the change of scenery with interest. At Consuela's house, the new occupant was not confused. He immediately surveyed the rooms and chose the couch as his favorite spot. The white beauty stretched out on the bedspread and covered his eyes. As soon as the animal fell asleep, he immediately felt a phantom pain in his missing tail. The cat was dreaming about a not-so-pleasant moment of tough street competition. Rabbit was very young at the time and didn't know much about what situations to run away from. The white kitten didn't pay proper attention to the big, stray dog. The angry, hungry dog, on the other hand, noticed the baby with a meat scrap in his teeth. The dog jumped onto the kitten to take away the food. The cub managed to dodge, but sharp teeth grabbed him painfully by the tail. In pain, the kitten unclenched its teeth and the food fell to the ground. The dog immediately lost interest in the animal and went off to eat, and the kitten crawled away to lick its wounds. The sleep was too vivid. The animal was twitching its paws, flattening its ears, and meowing. Consuela stepped closer to the kitten and gently stroked its head. The kitty began to relax until it was breathing smoothly. The dream changed. Now he was lying in the sun, and a warm breeze stroked his white fur. The next day, the new owner took her pet to the vet. The doctor examined the cat and found several old scars on his tender skin and healed fractures. Given the absence of a tail and wary looks, people decided that Rabbit had had a hard time in life. The cat couldn't talk, but he remembered every wound he had received in his life. There were battle scars when he had to defend territory or defend hard-won food. One day, the animal was particularly unlucky. He had just discovered the backyard of a restaurant where the janitor had taken a plastic container of food out. The animal was very surprised then that there weren't a bunch of animals hanging around, but he decided that since the food was practically in front of his nose, he had to eat it. He had managed to swallow a piece of chicken skin when something heavy and clawed crashed into his side. The cat quickly bounced away and saw a large gang of street cats in front of him. The cat pack wasn't too kind to the stranger and even postponed their dinner for a while. The white rabbit suffered a lot. He had never suffered so much, even from the dogs. But it's a little easier with dogs. You climb a tree or squeeze through a small gap in the fence, and that's it. You're invulnerable. Cats, on the other hand, are equal adversaries. They'll climb up a branch after you to throw you to the ground, and they'll crawl through any crevice. Rabbit received fractures because of people. The hard kicks to the ribs did not help maintain integrity, but the cat learned that it was better not to approach men. Women are more tolerant and more often give him food. Consuela could not fix the pet's previous life, but she was determined to prove to Rabbit that not all humans are bad. From the vet, the white cat left with a new addition, with a sunny little soft frog. The animal really liked the toy, and now he slept only next to it. Consuela's house has grown with new interior details. There appeared a scratching post, a fluffy couch, bowls, and toys. Rabbit was studying all the new items with interest, and every day he trusted his mistress more and more. The woman noticed that the animal stopped shuddering in his sleep and began to cuddle up to her hands. After all that the cat had suffered during his existence, he frankly enjoyed life and was finally happy every new day, though now he could not personally choose his own food in the store, but Consuela was quite good at it on her own, so Rabbit was not worried. Want more stories? Welcome to the channel. Here you will be immersed in an atmosphere of coziness and unpredictability. Each story is unique, intriguing, and very heartwarming. We look forward to seeing you on the channel.